Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pigsmoke. We are continuing our summer school series of the Gauntlet. The Gauntlet is a community for online gaming, which you can find details on the descriptions of this video. This game is going to be the second part of our Pigsmoke series, a game about magical academia. We are going to be covered by the Gauntlet inclusivity policy. We're going to use safety tools. We have lines and veils defined, which can be consulted at any moment on Character Keeper, and that's a living document. So any lines and veils that you feel that come up at any point that you feel might be important, just feel free to add. And for more general use, we're going to be using the X card. And for scenes which need a more careful curation, we will be using script change. We have an open door policy, so if at any moment you have to leave the table, feel free to do so. We're going to start by introducing our members of the faculty. And we're going to go around in the order of the character keeper, and we're going to start Michael. Michael, introduce yourself and Arthur Stinger.
Yeah, I'm playing Arthur Stinger. He is a workhorse and works in the Department of Calling, Binding, and Sealing Away. He is very much of a person who is in academia for ideological reasons and believing in science and working hard and stuff like that. Not so much the politicking around and bureaucracy, even though he has learned to make his way. He usually ends up doing more work than his co-authors on the articles. His domestic situation is such that he lives together with his partner Alex, who is a consultant, magic consultant. And Alex is trying to convince Arthur to stop working in academia because you don't get paid very much and you work very much. So it's a bad deal for Alex, and I guess for Arthur too. But the idealism that he has stops him from realizing that. So that's Arthur.
All right, so I guess I'm next. I'm Stentor. I'm playing Claire McDonnell. So she is in the Department of Alchemy, and she's the Rockstar playbook. So her background is that she's originally from Australia, and she was a big shot at Wombat Hole Magical University down there, but they kind of pushed her out because she was spending way too much of the departmental budget on her work. And so she ended up coming to Pigsmoke, which looked good on paper for Pigsmoke because she was such a famous person in her field. But Pigsmoke is now finding the financial consequences of that. And so she leans pretty heavily on kind of her charisma and ability to kind of out-argue people rather than the actual quality and productivity of her work. She's leaning pretty heavily on a paper she wrote back in 2013. Was the last sort of new contribution to knowledge that she made.
I suppose that brings it to me. I was not around for I'm Pearl, by the way, she, her pronouns. I was not around for last session, but I think we can assume that my character has been. So I will introduce her and we can all just imagine she was doing whatever things she might have been doing last session. So I am playing Bellatrix Donna Rogers, who is the politician playbook and is in the Department of Life and Death. And she's a weird mix of sort of obviously into some dark things and also kind of flighty and likes flowers and things like that. So she teaches in an overgrown graveyard, but some of that overgrowth is flowers. She likes them. Always has black eyeliner that is smudged and messy, and dresses sort of like a villain out of a movie with some BDSM accessories, but also like occasionally wears flowers in her hair or whatever else. But generally, like, pretty straight up villain. And her thing is basically that she is literally driven by demons. She has made some sort of shadowy association with some forces that she doesn't like to talk about, and probably will not talk about unless forced. But she sometimes has to suddenly disappear or, run very random, odd-seeming errands, slightly ominous, perhaps. A few of her students have disappeared under mysterious circumstances that definitely had nothing to do with her, but it is odd that it's always students in her classes who seem to be the ones who disappear over the years. But she's generally, she's friendly. If she has an air about her that like makes people feel vaguely uncomfortable, but they can't put their finger on why, because she's always nice. So people don't avoid her because they feel like it would be rude, but everyone kind of wishes they could, I think, because there's just something a little bit off about Bellatrix. That is what I have for her so far.
So she belongs to the Department of Life and Death. So why don't you tell us a bit about the department? So
Wonderful place, the Department of Life and Death.
yeah,
Just delightful.
You have a few questions that you establish about the Department of Life and Death. You have on page 81 a few suggested answers, or you can come with your own. So, what is the head of the department?
Let me pull up the whole book rather than just the playbooks and such, so that I can answer those more accurately. Can you give me the page number again, please?
81.
81. Okay. Almost there. Here we are. Yes, the Department of Life and Death. So the head of the department is, these are all good. Can I combine two of them?
Yes.
Like two of the suggested head thing? Okay. So I'm going to take a bit off the first option and a bit off the second. The head of the department is a priest full of religious conviction and with lots of runes tattooed all over him, whose command of necromancy is unsurpassed, and whose agenda is dubious. But aside from the agenda, the religious conviction does drive him to be on a mission to convert the whole department. We're just not entirely sure why, and some of those runes look pretty ominous. But they're just tattoos, right? Nothing significant. We're all sure.
So what is the key problem of the department?
The key problem of the department is the terrible reputation of necromancy. And of course, the head of the department, being full of religious conviction and all of that, is adamant that it's everybody's job to fix it. So we need to just convince everyone that necromancy is just as fun and great magic art as any other sort. Like, you could work on animals, you can raise the dead. It's all just fun magic, as far as we're concerned here in the Department of Life and Death. But not everybody seems to feel that way. So that's our problem. We probably also sometimes have problems with spontaneous and undead and other things, but I would say the key problem is image.
So, how is the department building haunted?
Oh man, I'm going to combine two of these too. There are just so many good options here. It's obviously haunted. It's really haunted. It's notoriously haunted. It's haunted enough that paranormal investigators keep breaking and ruining experiments, risking Pigsmoke's low profile and, of course, not helping the reputation with the necromancy thing, and otherwise making a nuisance of themselves. And what's really weird about that is that no one knows how it's so haunted, given that it's a brand new building funded by a wealthy benefactor who definitely isn't going to meddle in my research. No, no way, no how. Always fun to be had in my department.
Indeed. So now you have a list of 6 questions, 3 that come from your playbook and 3 that come from your department playbook. So
Wait.
you get to answer 3 of those.
Okay. So all three from each, or I'm picking 3 total?
You pick 3
So like,
to ask.
could they all be from one of the 2 playbooks, or do I mix them up? Is there a recommended?
The recommended ratio is 2 from one and 1 from the other.
Okie dokie. So we'll go with. I've got a rival with just as strong a power base as me, and pending agreement, I'm going to say that it's Claire McDonald, because she's the rock star who's so well published, and I'm sure all of the, young aspiring alchemists and things would want to follow her influence, which would make her
I think
powerful.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Let me put that in the
And
character.
what is Claire's opinion on that? Do they recognize Bellatrix as a rival?
Are you asking me? I assumed you were asking Claire. Sorry.
No, I'm asking Claire.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were asking her. Can you repeat the question?
Does Claire knows about this rivalry and acknowledge Bellatrix as her rival, or it's more one-sided?
I think it's a little more one-sided. I think Claire thinks so highly of herself that she doesn't imagine she has a rival as such, because that would imply that someone else is like on her level.
I think that's probably exactly why I consider her to be a rival. That kind of thing does not sit well with someone who casually raises the dead, probably. All right, so that'll be the one question. I'm also going to name and describe the undead creature on campus I've struck up a casual friendship with. So who it is of the many teaching aids that I use to teach my students in the life and death department, we have things like skeletons. And there was one particular skeleton that I was using to show various things, animating it to make it dance and things, giving it spooky voices, the sorts of things, just the base level, like 101 stuff. And when I animated, he really has a good sense of humor and like a good perspective on life. He must have had a really, good life before he turned up as a skeleton in the lab. So I've kind of just kept him around. And when none of the students are there, I, animate him a bit. We just talk about life and crack a few jokes. He's quite skilled at ballroom dancing, of all things. We just sometimes you need to let loose. University life is very stressful. He understands.
What you call him?
Steve. That was his name. Be disrespectful to just give him some other name. And then the other question. Let's see. 1 second. Let me just put this in the character keeper before I forget. Steve the skeleton is my ballroom dancing, joking, and wisdom sharing pal. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to see if one of these questions actually appeals to one of you as a PC. Take it, and otherwise I will just take the one that I think is more about like an NPC. So the two questions left for my department are: who recognized one of the bodies in my lab, and what's the connection? So if one of you wants that one, we can take it. Otherwise, I can do which of your students is flunking your class hard, and why is it important that they pass? But would one of you like to?
I can take that.
Okay.
I think I recognize it as one of my students. And they had like these. They were one of those people who were mailing me questions about demons. So I'm a bit suspicious about why you have that body.
Arthur.
Are you involved, or is it just random that you found this body? And then I don't know. It's strange. They are not. They just reported missing too. So I was a little bit. But I don't want to mix myself in other departments' businesses. So I guess
It's probably for the best. But if it comes up, we will have to have a conversation, I imagine. All right, let me put that in there. So Arthur recognized one of the bodies in my lab as a student of his who went missing after asking questions about demons. What a funny coincidence, I am noting.
Yep.
All right, so questions. Claire is my rival who has a strong power base due to her rock stardom. Steve the Skeleton is my ballroom dancing, joking, and wisdom sharing pal. And Arthur recognized one of the bodies in my lab as a student of his who went missing after asking questions about demons. What a funny coincidence. I think that's it. Then we have a character. Unless I'm missing anything.
No. Okay, so let's open with Claire and her weekend. So, which hobby has Claire enjoyed that she has not had the opportunity to try to indulge for years, but ever since she got back from Australia, she has been indulging in it. And what is so relaxing to her about it?
Let's see. I'll just go with the first thing that comes to my mind, which is that she fosters kittens. And that's harder to do in Australia because there's a lot of problems with feral cats causing local wildlife to go extinct. And so that's not so good for her image in Australia. But now that she's in America, she can have as many kittens as she wants. And so she has in her house, she lives alone and has built, if you've seen those people that have all the like catwalks and, you know, the thing where the cats can go outside and all, but they're like enclosed and all those kind of things. She's built a whole lot of that in her house. And so she's got a litter with her now.
So she just got a new kitten from the shelter. And who is her connection on the shelter?
We will. Let me pull up a name generator here just to get a random name of a person. So it takes just a second to load this thing. Yeah. All right, we'll just say Bill Stevens is the person's name because this thing is taking too long to load. And Bill's the like volunteer coordinator that arranges for people to pick up and drop off foster animals.
So you get a new kitten, and what is this kitten's name?
This kitten's name is Miso.
So
Came from a litter of kittens, all named after Japanese food.
yeah. So the Stevenson is giving you miso. D has a board in which he has uh, a bunch of other kittens there, and he seems quite pleased that you're amazing with them, Claire. Really, summer is the worst periods. There are so many cats that are abandoned, and when there is also litters, it is very difficult. And you've been such a help this summer. I'm glad that you're sticking with us.
Oh, thank you. It's I'm just really excited to be able to get back into contributing to the community by helping rescue these tiny defenseless kittens who don't have anyone else to look after them. Isn't that right, little kitty? Isn't that right?
So he is taking all the paperwork, all the vaccination confirmation, whatever you're gonna need for vet appointments later. And he's taking to your transportation. What is Claire's private transportation?
I'm sorry?
What is Claire's private transportation?
Oh, transportation. I'm gonna say that she's got she maintains this carefully disheveled look, and so she's got a 2001 Hyundai Elantra. So, a really basic car that's got a lot of cosmetic issues. It's got like a big scrape down the one door, and part of the bumper is a little, goofed up, so it doesn't look like much. But she actually has a mechanic that she goes to and keeps it in tip-top, actual like running condition. But she, hasn't fixed any of the cosmetic issues so that it still looks like, an old junker driven by a professor that's got their mind on other things.
Mm-hmm. And after he says that, he says, "Well, I hope to hear from you again, and you can always send me some photos of Mizu to put on the shelter's Instagram page. That always help."
Oh, yes, she has a YouTube channel where she posts videos that she takes with cats, and she gives him the URL of her channel.
All right, hope to see you again soon. So, does Claire still live in a crammed apartment, or is she sharing a house with someone?
She has she has an apartment that she's like built all this stuff into, that luckily for her the landlord hasn't noticed yet, because this stuff may or may not be allowed, but she figured she'd just do it anyway because she's Claire McDonald. Who's going to say no to her?
Okay, so You get home and it's just as loitered and busy as it is on an apartment that you can find on your salary. Uh, are you still living on boxes or have you already got something nice?
Yeah, she's pretty well settled in, and so she's got. I'm trying to think how to describe what to say about the inside of her apartment, because it's she's built all these cat things, so there's not a ton of room left for people stuff. But she's got, she's tried to make it as nice as she can. She couldn't bring a lot of her furniture and stuff over from Australia. It just got way too expensive to ship it. So she's, it's a little sparse still, but she's working on filling it back up. And because, inside her apartment, she's not worried about impressing anyone else with her, looking like the absent-minded professor. So she's, waiting to have the money to buy actually something nice rather than just grabbing something off Craigslist. So it's a little sparse, aside from the stuff she's built for the cats.
And we get to another house scene. So, Bellatrix, when you are on your own free time and out of Pigsmoke, which of the pleasures you indulge more in? Your floral side or your BDSM villain side?
It really depends on the day and who's around. Not everybody's into BDSM villainry or villainousness or whatever the proper noun would be in that case. So, I wouldn't want to consent is very important, even for a necromancer. So if someone's not into that, it would be flowers. But
what she happens to be doing on this Sunday morning?
On this Sunday morning, I think she's thinking about tomorrow's classes in the overgrown graveyard that she teaches in. So she's gone down to the graveyard to just get some inspiration, and she's picking some of the flowers to make a wreath for her hair, which is going to contrast a bit weirdly with the rest of her outfit, but that's okay. And she has some tentative dinner plans with someone that she has not met, but that the people she communicates with that we don't talk about have asked her to meet for dinner. So, assuming that pans out, she's going to want to look nice, and she's just kind of gathering her thoughts and that sort of thing.
So you get a call, and you look to your phone, and you can see that you have no service, but it's calling, and it's from a department number.
I definitely answer it. It's not the sort of thing that you ignore, really.
Hello, Professor Rogers.
Yes.
I did not. I called a lot of people. I called Professor De Ramos and Professor Heidler, but they did not pick the phone. There is a student here that says that they are bringing a body for the department, and a professor needs to take it in. So I called because there's usually a big competition for those things, but if we wait until tomorrow, the body might not be in the better condition for the animation. If you are not available, I'll just call someone else.
Quick, out of character question: does the person sound like one of my superiors, or is it just like a random person from the department?
It seems to be one of the security people that you have. Basically, one of the less feral ghouls that have been taught to actually call the ghost phone.
Okay. Do you know when the students arriving? Are they already there? This is no back.
They are here with the body.
All right, I'll be right down. I'm going to assume I can handle this situation before the dinner, since it's only the afternoon.
Let's see if you can.
Yeah, I know. My character assumes she can handle this. I do not assume any such thing. So I'm going to head back to the university, which is not far from the graveyard, since the graveyard is also my classroom. So the students have to be able to get to it. So I think I could just walk back to the main building. And I'm going to look for this, I don't know, menagerie of darkness.
So you go to the entrance of the morgue, and there is a covered body, and there is a student there. You don't recognize the student immediately. He's very well dressed, and he has curly hair up to his shoulder, and has the bearings of someone from, let's say, high class families. And he seems pleased to see you, but not very impressed. And he just nods and greets you as you approach. But he seems to be as quiet as needed. And again, you don't recognize seeing him around.
Does he obviously have a dead body with him, or is he somebody else?
Well, there is a dead body with him, yes.
Okay, so he is the one.
Yeah.
Hello, young man. I hear you have something you're looking to donate to the department. That's very kind of you.
Yes, Professor. There was a body found in the grounds, which by policy is to be donated to the department, and I was happening to be here.
Well, that's very kind of you. Why don't we just take it right in? So I'm going to do you have key cards or something mundane like that, or do we use magic to open the doors?
It's a very new building, so of course they have key cards.
Okay.
And most of the time they don't work.
I didn't know if you could magically sense faculty and open the doors, or if we actually have to use physical key cards, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
On this time,
So
let's say it is.
Swipe it.
Yeah.
Swipe my key card.
On the other side, you see the security guard that you assume that made the call, and he seems to be on the phone with someone else. But when he says, "Oh, Professor Rogers, I'm so sorry to disturb your Sunday."
It's quite all right. It seems like it was a matter of some import. But I do have plans later this evening, so if we can expedite the process and just get this into the morgue and into a cooler so that it won't deteriorate, I would appreciate it, and I will be on my way.
And please go ahead, just feel free to do as you care. And the student is standing on the side, if you ask, he's going to help you cart the body, otherwise he'll just loiter around.
I'm definitely going to ask. Would you help me move this, please? It's a bit much. Thank you.
And
follow
he
me then.
Swinging down into the morgue. And why don't you describe me the morgue?
I think it is actually the only relatively standard-looking room in the building. It is otherwise a building full of all sorts of occult things and things that you just kind of might want to steer free of, but morgues are pretty straightforward. You need to really keep those bodies chilled and everything sterile. So we actually have a pretty standard morgue, which is odd given the surroundings, but we need to be good at what we do. So lots of stainless steel that gets wiped down really often, tile flooring to clean up any messes, that sort of thing. And lots of drawers for dead bodies.
Yeah, there is a soft moaning, and there is geeking on one of the shelves from the inside.
Oh, bother.
There is still a lot of space where you can just shove the body in. And the student awaits your instructions.
Well, I mean, the first thing we should do is get this new dead body into one of the drawers. before anything else goes wrong. So I'm going to take the nearest unused, the nearest unused body drawer, and ask for some help lifting this fellow, about who I'm going to have some questions, but at the moment, let's just get him in there. So
Yeah, the student seems a bit trying too hard not to get his fancy clothes stained, but helps and seems relieved once the deed is done. Well, I think that is very well, Professor.
Actually, we have a standard intake procedure. I'm going to need you to just fill out this form here, and can I just like magically whip one up or something, or
Yeah.
with your name and contact information in case we have any questions about it, and just a few spaces to fill in how the body was found and any connections and those sorts of things. So if you could just fill that out before you leave, here's a pen or a quill if you prefer, either one. And I'm gonna attend to that kicking bit over there. Don't worry about it. I've got it under control. Just fill out this form. Does he take the form and the pen? Begin to fill it out?
He takes
Excellent.
and writes, and you go through the usual things of calming down the random ghost that possesses one of the bodies that is left behind. You perform a quick exorcism to get it to calm down.
Yeah, just come on,
Routine.
Henry. You know that kicking never gets you anywhere.
Where is my liver? They took my liver.
They did take your liver, but you know what? It's long gone, buddy. Like, they just
It's
don't last that long
mine.
outside of people.
It's mine.
I know. But we're gonna have to come to terms with this one of these days. We can't keep having this conversation.
Here you go, Professor. And the student presents you the form.
Excellent. What does it say?
It says Conrad Mansell, and he has listed his that he lives on one of the fanciest dormitories in the northern part of the campus, and that he's majoring in foresight with a minor in mind bending.
Okay. He's not an NPC I should know about from elsewhere yet, is he?
No.
Okay.
He's a student that you never saw in class.
Right. I just didn't know if he was connected to one of the other teachers and I had missed it.
No.
Well, I think it's good that he's majoring and minoring in things other than this because he doesn't seem very well suited to it. So I'm just going to give him sort of a patronizing smile, shake his hand and thank him for his donation, and send him on his merry way to somewhere where he belongs a little bit more.
Okay. And from that, we get to the next scene, back at the beginning of the second week of the first fall semester. And we see Arthur parking his bike, and he can see a lot of students loitering around his classroom, which is weird because they are usually never on time. And you, in fact, you check your clock again, am I late perchance? And as soon as you approach, then you can overhear them. I cannot believe that she died. Is she? And they turn to you, Professor. Can we skip the class? One of our colleagues, she went missing last week, and she seems to be dead. And she seems to be under possession of the Department of Life and Death. Some of us, and you see some of the boys and girls that they have been clearly been crying. Some of us were pretty close, and we kind of need to go see if it was really her.
I think For Archer's first instinct here is probably that I'm sure if you want to skip class, I don't have to teach it. But then realizes that there's a dead person. Well, that's unfortunate. And well, sure. Let me join you over there. I'm sure that they have some forms that you have to fill out or something to get to see dead bodies. And he's thinking to himself, like, what the hell? Is this another one of these ones that were asking about demons or what? I think I'm starting to suspect the Department of Life and Death to be behind this after all, not the students.
Yeah, and in fact, if you go to the morgue and you see that indeed it was one of the students that was asking you after class about this.
Mm-hmm. Is there someone from the department there, from Life and Death?
There are a lot of people from the Department of Life and Death, and the closest person that you find is two teachers. One of them is the sports teacher, Bolton Heidler, that is going around the entrance training a few students. And there seems to be some kind of mixture between garden and graveyard, and there seems to be a class being taught there.
Well, if that's the closest teacher to me, I think I like go up to him and like if it's in front of the class, I'll do it in front of the class and say, there is. I can see on the form by this dead body over there was no autopsy. Do you think that you getting in the bodies is just for reanimation? You're also supposed to find out what happened. You know, dead students are bad for business. I've heard the principal say. I don't know, and like cringes a little bit.
Hey man, don't ask me. I don't know for any dead bodies. You should talk with whoever received the team. The teacher that got on that must have signed it, and they have claim to the body and what they do. If they did not autopsies because they want it for something.
Man, you guys. Well, okay. Where is the form that they would have signed? Where would that be now? I can't. We're close to the body, at least.
Yeah, it's on the security office near the morgue. So the security is going to give it to you, but then it states, I'm not sure how it is between departments. I'm sure you're going to need to fill an interdepartmental request to get this. I don't want to get in trouble, Professor.
What do you mean interdepartmental? This is my student? It's my department.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get in problems. Let me make a few calls. So, how good are you with dealing with red tape?
Pretty good, actually.
Okay, so time to red tape it.
Well, let's see. Well, I'm very bad at rolling, though. That's a 6.
Oh. Okay, so you actually have a choice. While he's checking the phone, you can see that there is a form that still has not been folded with the other ones, and you can take a wild guess and think that this is the form of the body, and you can grab the form and read the names within. But there will be consequences for that, or you can just let it go.
I guess that I just like shrug and say, well, okay, I'm gonna go to my head of department and say that you don't deliver out the files of murdered students from our department. Mister, what's your name?
And the security officer has a name tag, Igor Smuch, and he seems with murder. There is not. How can you say something like that? And my friend, then we have to get the police involved, and nobody likes that. That is against the low profile that Pigsmoke likes to keep. But if you indeed think it's a murder, it's the proper. I guess it's the proper protocol. I guess I'll have to file that away. And he starts to list a few more calls to make. Professor, I'll sure contact you once we learn something from this, from the investigation. I'm sure someone will want to talk with you.
Thank you. Schmutz.
So, do you try to take a peek at that form, or you just let it really go?
I let it go, I think. I mean, I don't care that much about my students anyway.
Good.
It's just annoying that they can't fill out the forms. Goddamn necromancers.
Goddamn necromancer. So, next we get to Claire, and Claire has a meeting. We see Claire in front of the office of the head of the department, and they are waiting in front of her secretary. Which kind of secretary has Alchemy built for their the head of department?
I'm sorry, what are you asking?
Which kind of secretary Alchemy built for their head of department?
Oh, what if they? Okay. So I think the department secretary is made entirely of glass, and they're able somehow to move without, like, they don't have like joints or anything in the glass. Like the glass just kind of flows, but if you like touch them, they're hard like glass.
Processor Phalanx will see you now, the glass construct says. Please step ahead.
Thank you. And I'll go into the department head's office.
So, the department's head office is like 4 times the size of yours. And you can see Clara Phalanx, this middle-aged tech genius and veteran from the Collider Elemental Research Network. And the entire place is filled with some prizes that she got from the tech industry and from academia back in Europe. And she has a lot of forms of proof of the stocks of the companies that she helped start, and her breakthrough paper on hypothesizing 2020 new transmutable elements, which nobody has been able to replicate a single one, but that does not matter, does it? And she keeps looking out of the window as you enter.
Yeah, I think I look around at all her tech stuff and, kind of roll my eyes as long as she's not looking at me. And I say, so is there a problem that I can help you with?
Yes, you seem to have been having problems with the accounts of the university. And that can be a problem in the future. And Phalanx turns and sits. You know how strict the dean is with the financials, and if it's not clear who is using which account, there might be issues in things and they might not be accounted for. And we have a considerable amount of the wealth of the college at our disposal, and so we are more vulnerable to that.
Yeah, so I had been hoping that you'd be a little more on my side with the bean counters in the administration, because we all need money for our research. You clearly need quite a bit of funding for a lot of the stuff that you do, and I don't think we can just give in every time they tell us, oh, well, the budget doesn't allow for that, or oh, we have to do this or that for the budget, because I get that's their job to worry about all that kind of stuff, but we can't let accountants run an academic department.
I agree. That's why I'm implementing all these reforms so that we don't have to deal with that. We can deal that internally. However, I need that you help me help you. And for that, you need to be using all the new technology properly and not be spending time about socialized elements of alchemy. And she drops the hint of the real reason why she called you in.
Mm-hmm. So, which technology are you expecting me to work with?
Well, glad that you asked. There is a seminar next week, and there are a few people that have been appointed, and the dean expects at least one person from each department to join in. I would like that you will not only join, but also prepare a presentation about the benefits of applying the same technologies and systems that we apply in alchemy for other people to apply on their departments. Can I count you on that? You can see by her tone that she's not really asking.
Uh-huh. And Claire takes a moment to compose herself because she's not happy about this request, but she also doesn't see a good way right now to get out of it. And she very ostentatiously pulls out her paper day planner that she uses and gets out a nice pen to write in it with, and says, when is this presentation need to be made?
I'll send you an email later with the updates, and you can see that Phalanx is almost groaning as she stares at your day planner.
Yeah,
that will be oh, Professor.
Okay, yeah, I snap the planner shut, put it back in my pocket, and get up and leave the office.
Next, we get to Beatrix, and very important question: are you teaching this week?
I certainly can be.
Yes, you can, but should you? Teaching is very dangerous in this game. Just saying.
That is true, and I don't think I took the move that allows me to do something else instead of teach, did I? I changed my mind at the last minute. That was silly of me. But sure, I'll teach and see what happens.
Okay, so let's roll with the move to see. So as you move, just tells us what are you teaching this Monday.
Where's the button? Oh, there it is. I found it. Sorry. I have located the button for the mutings. What would I be teaching? Something about death. Let's say if it's in the graveyard, can I teach like the same lesson that I originally discovered Steve with, the beginning animation spell?
Yeah, you can be teaching beginners animation. You also have a fresh corpse if you want to do something else.
Wait a second. Hold on. Something is wrong with my settings again. It keeps resetting itself and I can't hear things. No, why would I want that to be my output? Can you say that again?
Yes, you can teach the basics of animation. You also have a fresh corpse at your disposal.
So I assume I can teach outside of my regular classrooms area if my regular classroom is in fact the graveyard. I don't think they'll let me bring the corpse to the graveyard.
No.
Okay. So yeah, let's say that we're in my secondary classroom, which is a monolithic black marble room with a single skeleton on a display stand in the middle, and the students are gathered sort of in front and around me and it, and there are candles lining all of the walls that make the very shiny black marble kind of reflective in an eerie way.
So, let's see how that goes.
I need to roll to teach, yes?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Roll in. I've made a paper with all the moves as far as what I roll with, but if you could remind me while I'm looking for it, that would be great. Thank you.
Charisma.
Okay. And I have 0 charisma. Well, that's going to go well. All right. 2d6. So I got a 7.
Okay, so your mark experience, but when your students will come later with a difficult question.
Oh, okay.
So, as you are going down through how to properly prepare a body for later use, one of the students, let's say that her name is Caroline Myers, she writes an email to you later. Professor, I was delighted by this. However, I need to know for a paper if you can preemptively prepare a body for reanimation while the individual is still alive.
Well, it's really a complicated question.
It is indeed, and probably outside of your immediate capacities to respond. So you're gonna need time to do this.
To respond.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you can try to just bullshit your way through.
Well, she's just asking me the question, right? She's not asking me to do it, is she?
Yeah, she basically just send you an email to get this clarification on this.
Well, I think if you look through the department handbook, in chapter 473, section 22A, point 97, you'll see sort of the list of criteria we have for bodies for animation, and each one has a subsection on what is appropriate and allowed by the department, as well as some endnotes about what is actually legally available to us. So I would suggest that you start there, and if you've perused all of that and still have questions, go ahead and come back, and we'll go over it together. Did you get all those?
Yeah, she seems confused, but you managed to delay her for now. So you get the feeling that she's going to be eventually coming back to you.
Oh, I'm sure she will.
Yeah. So you deflected that that will be a problem for next month's Bellatrix. Now, this month's Bellatrix is going for lunch. So you're gonna roll Small Incestuous World, and that is, think it's flat. Yes, it's flat. So
Okay. An 8.
So you get to pick one from the next list.
Okay. Bother. Too much scrolling. Not enough. Oh wait, it's probably in the character keeper, isn't it? Is there like a moves? There is one, right? No. Yes. Moves
Yes.
somewhere in the character.
Yes.
Which tab is it? There are many tabs. And
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, there is a move sheet on the drive.
yes, let me get back to that from the other playbook one. Basic move sheet. There we go. So you were having me do Small Ancestors World one, yes?
Yes.
And I got an 8, so I choose one of these. I would like to run into someone I'd really rather have avoided.
Okay, question is, who would you really want to avoid on this university?
Well, I've got my rival.
I guess
there.
that's a great choice. So basically, you both get delayed to lunch. One because they've been getting disciplined by Phalanx, and the other because they had a pretty messy question from a student that they could just not outright dismiss. So they had to spend time. And the result is that one of the few tables on the cafeteria is next exactly to Claire. And you realize that you pretty much cannot start a conversation with anyone else because all the others are students. So you pretty much are going either to eat on weird silence or make conversation with Claire, your rival.
Claire. Delightful. I'm going to make conversation because it would be rude not to, don't you think?
I think so.
So, Claire, I didn't expect to see you such a late hour for lunch. How have you been?
I got held up by my department chair. You probably know how it is, right?
I really, really do. More than you could possibly imagine. I was held up by a student today, actually, which is sort of a pleasant surprise given my usual day-to-day goings-on. But yes, these delays can't be helped sometimes. What's new in the Department of Alchemy?
Oh, too much is new in the Department of Alchemy is kind of the problem. And so, can I ask, what is Bellatrix having for lunch? Just envision this scene.
Are we? Is it like a campus dining situation where we have the options that are presented to us, or are we like bringing food from home or something else?
I guess you can do both. I guess there is a cafeteria sending food, but you can also bring whatever you want from home. Or if you are really fancy, you can just have it delivered. But why would you go to the cafeteria then instead?
Sure. Okay. I think Bellatrix has brought some things from home, and because she works with so much sort of dead stuff, she likes to eat really fresh food. So she has a nice big salad with some berries on it and lots of kinds of greens and things like that, and a bit of like a minimally seasoned but like nicely done, we'll say chicken on it for protein. And she's brought her own like nice silverware. She has a little setup.
Okay. And I think Claire is brought her own lunch and is, of course, eating a Vegemite sandwich.
suppose in my line of work, there are worse things. Although, is that Vegemite, Claire?
It is. It is. Would you like some?
I'm good. I'm really enjoying my salad, but I was just thinking, if you like things like Vegemite, maybe you're in the wrong department and should be joining mine.
How do you mean?
Oh, nothing.
I don't believe Vegemite is made from corpses. I could be wrong. She now looks at the ingredients list. No, it's brewer's yeast, salt.
I mean, we do use a lot of salt, rituals and whatnot. But I was just making conversation. Pay no mind at all. Surely you've published some new fancy thing that you'd want to talk about at length.
Oh, yes, I'm actually working on, and she starts to just like totally BS about like her fossil work. Not letting on that a lot of this is rehashing stuff that she's already done, because she figures Bellatrix wouldn't be as familiar with all of that. So
I do keep up with fossils because we use a lot of bones and things like that in our rituals. It's great that you're doing any breakthroughs in that department. I'd be really happy to hear about it. We could even do some research together, perhaps.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's always good to have more papers in the works.
Agreed. So if you're working on a topic having to do with fossils, perhaps, would you like to? Yeah, I've been looking for a new research topic myself, actually, so I'd be happy to join forces.
Yeah. So tell me, I mean, I know you tend to work with the recently deceased. Have you done work on, say 10, 20,000 years old materials?
So the Office of Life and Death, the Department of Life and Death, yes, we do handle recently deceased in the necromancy department. We also do reanimation of bones of all sorts. I have a skeleton in my office named Steve, actually, who's one of my best friends. And who knows how long ago he died. He doesn't like to talk about it. But, as long as there are bones, the proper rituals can be done, and it doesn't really matter.
Very interesting.
Maybe you should come to take a tour of the department someday. It sounds like you don't really have an idea of what we do there.
Yes. I think that would be very interesting.
Yeah. Well, my office hours are posted online, and you're always welcome to come, or we can just make a date.
Yeah, why don't we do that? I have class this afternoon, but maybe first thing tomorrow?
That sounds great. Due to the whole necromancy thing, I tend to be up late. So if first thing in the morning could be sort of the last part of first thing that would count for you, that'll probably work well for me. What time are you available?
8:30. Would that work for you?
Sure. Yes.
Okay. Excellent. I will meet you over there. I will meet you over there.
Perfect. Sometimes the key card reader is a bit fussy, so I'll meet you at the front door just to be safe.
Okay, sounds good.
And if you have any, bones that you want to bring along, just feel free.
Yeah. I'll bring what I have.
Wonderful. Oh, I can't wait. I'm gonna start eating my salad again, unless Claire has something else to say.
Yeah. No, I definitely have some plans once I get back to my office.
Speaking of plans, now it's a good time to ask both Arthur and Claire if they are teaching this week.
Yeah.
Okay, so do that teach move, that famous teach move.
Okay. Yeah, that's plus charisma. Okay, so that's a 13 for me.
Okay, so mark XP and everything goes well. How about Arthur? Are you teaching?
I think I don't actually, because my students are mourning. Great
Yeah.
opportunity me for do some research.
Yeah. So you don't have to. So now everyone still has your time passes move available to take. So what are the things that you are trying to get done this week? And let's go in reverse order. No, let's go order of the character keeper. So Arthur, what are you trying to get done this week?
Well, I'm trying to get on with my binding project.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
After my past week's failure with the fossils, I just figured out I should really focus on something I can do myself.
Okay, so go ahead and delve deeper.
Yeah, that's
Research.
well, that's 8 then.
Okay, that's good. So you can make one question or you can advance one in a research track, in which you are an author or co-author.
Yeah, I think I'll advance the research track.
Okay, so you managed to make significant progress, and you are confident that you actually have something to present to Claire, and then maybe get her to actually contribute something for this project if she wants to earn her co-authorship. But you already have laid a pretty good groundwork, and you are sure that you pretty much have an idea of how to make these experiments. Now you just need to spend hours and hours grinding on the mill and then analyzing the data. And next, Claire, what is Claire trying to get done this week?
So the first thing that she's going to do, since she's been talking to Bellatrix about this, issue of reanimating fossils. So she had a skeleton in at her university in Australia of a diprotodon, which is essentially a wombat the size of a car that went extinct at the end of the last ice age. And she was able to bring the skull with her to America, but not the rest of it. And she wants to fill out a purchase order to pay for bringing the rest of it over, because it seems like the rest of it could be useful right now. And just because the department head was just giving me a hard time about spending money, I want to kind of lean into that.
So, do you have any specific move, or you would be using the purchase order?
Just
move?
the purchase order move. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because alchemy has some moves to make that easier.
Yeah, I don't think I took those. No. Yeah, I didn't take the relevant. Oh, wait, I do. I can spend hold from publish or perish, which I don't have any of that.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah, so I just get the +1 from my bureaucracy score. Those. And that's a 12.
Okay, that's great. So you get all three. You don't need to give anything in exchange, and you get exactly what you want, and you get it now. You get it very express, and you have that by the end of the week. And so you're going to have the whole skeleton of the Protodon available to you as an item.
I was almost hoping I'd fail that and make it more interesting, but no, we can do fun things.
Well, this is also more interesting if someone else fails the rules related to it. You still have time because you did not time consume.
Yeah.
So anything else that you want to do? Also, I remind you that you have a depending matter with Raphael if you want to play with
Right.
that. Otherwise, you risk burnout.
Right. Um, so I'm thinking that, just from a meta player perspective, I actually kind of want to ignore Raphael's thing and have that come back to bite me, because I've gotten so wrapped up in these. Yeah, I've got multiple different new potential research projects. Plus, I have to do whatever this presentation is that the department chair wants me to do, and we've got a short campaign here, so I kind of want to hit that burnout thing. So I think I am, for meta gaming kind of reasons, going to deliberately ignore Raphael's needs.
Okay, so what you gonna do to use your time-consuming move for this week?
So I think I will delve deeper,
Okay,
because
go
I've got
ahead.
this. We're trying to work on this thing about using the fossil alchemy to help with the demon binding. So I want to look into that more and see about that. So that's plus research, and my research is -1. I'm just rolling things steadily with lower and lower modifiers here. Okay, and that's a nice total failure. It's just a 4.
Yeah, so you have a failure, and the problem, the failure is that you get the skeleton and you are going to go through it and magical books to find space for it, to find what you could do with it, but then you realize that you have no space. And oh my god, yes, I really have not a single corner. I'm right next to the refuse, and you're just baffled. Where can I put this whole enormous skeleton on?
Yeah, I think I have to put it in the room where we've been disposing of all the waste.
Yeah, you have to do that, and you don't know yet, but the skeleton has been contaminated.
Yeah.
And next we get to Bellatrix. So, Bellatrix, what are you trying to get done this week?
Well, I am vaguely going to try to pursue this thing with Claire. If she actually has access to some fossils that could be interesting, that would be useful to me. And I do need a research project. I would like to look into this Conrad fellow and the body he brought in as well. Did it say on the sheet where the body was from or anything about it? I can't remember.
It was a student from the CABSA.
But, like, did it say what happened to them or how they were found? Or
No, but you have a body that you can make autopsies on.
I certainly can. So I guess I'd like to delve deeper.
Yes, you do.
And in order to do that,
get advantage as long as all the questions that you're gonna ask pertain to this body.
they do, as far as I know. I mean, I guess
So
we'll see when I
have
move.
advantage.
Perfect. So that means I roll with 1 extra die. Is that right?
Yes, and you keep the 2 best.
And plus research, if I am remembering correctly there, which is 1 for me, I think. So roll for my party. I'll just do 3 new dice so I know which ones they are. And I will color them. Why isn't there black? Orange. Magenta. So I got a 1, a 4, and a 3. So I'll take the 4 and the 3 for a 7 plus research is 8. So 8, right?
And so a single question then.
All right. Okay. What's the history here?
So you, because of your particular ties, you recognize that while nothing seems openly unusual, the body was not really dead by anything physical, but you recognize that the body was rendered lifeless because its spirit was destroyed and its soul disconnected and unable to return. And you recognize in tiny, tiny, tiny microscopic print that is not visible to the naked eye and intricate patterns of demonic runes that have been injected under the skin. And you assume that this was how the spirit was severed and the soul connection to the body severed.
Well,
So, yeah. So you think that there might be a very confused soul somewhere.
indeed. Yeah, it depends, I suppose, on whether this person signed up to have these injections done under some possibly false pretense or whether this was done to them against their will. But I'm going to, if the thing I studied, do I have a way of like declaring that I have a new research topic? Because I think I want a new research topic, which is like weird demonic injections.
Yeah, you can think how, for example, what can you ask about this and what could be good to research on this.
Okay, I can think about that for the next my next turn, I guess, since I just did one. Right?
Yeah, so we're gonna move on the next week now. So you already start a project. Which are your co-authors?
I mean, I'm hoping it's going to be clear after our meeting if we're going to have the meeting. Although if we're skipping to next week, have we skipped over the meeting and we're just assuming it happened?
Yeah, unless there is anything that you want to do.
I was interested in seeing what she was going to bring and what she made of the department, but I don't know.
I think we can resolve that next week for, let's say, for the second meeting on the following.
Okay.
So I'm gonna write a placeholder name for the project. So spirit severing demonic tattoos, and then you can update the name of the project with anything more fitting.
Oh, sure. My parents were English professors. I could come up with a really obnoxiously academic title for this if you want.
So we roll on to the next week. And okay, and who here is teaching?
I think I'm teaching this week.
Go ahead, Arthur.
Well, that's not good at teaching. Or rolling. Well, that is an 8 and then -1, 7.
Okay, so I'm gonna see you get one burnout because you are not able to advance why people are getting involved with the demons, and the stress is not leaving you. Every question that the students make, you get more and more anxious. So you get one burnout from anxiety. But at the same time, I'm not going to give anything else related to them because this is still something hanging over you. They are still too curious about demon binding. They are making questions that no first year should ever do, and what the hell are they teaching these kids in high school? So it's only burning out for you, but you already have 3 burnout?
With this, I have. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So don't forget the XP.
I didn't.
Yeah, from teaching. Okay, so you're gonna be called by the department head then. So we're gonna be resolving that later. So who else is teaching?
I am.
Okay,
So,
let's see how that goes.
that is 5, 6, 7, 8.
So you also get 1 burnout because the moment you get classes up, it's a time that Raphael knows when to find you. So they are always around you and harassing you and sending you mails and always seem to be interrupting you on the corridors. And they really are making your life a living hell because they want their damn letter of recommendation. So you get 1 burnout from that.
Yep.
But that is not where it ends. You find out that some student has noticed the protodon, and he actually wrote you with a CC to the department head asking about it and what uses they have in alchemy. So you need to give them an answer that not only gets the student out of you, and if actually Phalanx reads this, that she's not going to.
Yeah. So I think that. So I want to go the schmooze route on this one because I've been working on that presentation about the applications of technology. And so I want to claim that I'm actually applying some of this new technology to the analysis of the chemical structure in the bones of this diprotodon. And that, I want to continue working with this particular skeleton because I've been, doing a lot of work on it. And so I've got a lot of sort of the background knowledge to help me interpret the results of the technology. And I have no actual intention of doing that, but that's what I'm going to tell her that I intend to do. And that's why I need this skeleton.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So that's also a charisma, so I'm going to get +2 on this. Oh, that still doesn't help me. So that is a 5 total.
Oh shit. Okay, so don't forget to mark XP from the teaching if you did not already. And the student does not see to have any concerns about that. I mean, for if even if they detect something, you're a teacher, so it's not like they're gonna call you on your bullshit. But you get a notification later from Crystal, the secretary of Clara Phalanx, and she's saying that your accounts are going to be your department accounts are going to be suspended until the end of the term.
Okay.
So yeah. So not
Well,
going to be adding new expenses anytime soon. At least
that's a good reason to work on cooperative projects with faculty in other departments who have their own budgets.
Yeah, and they don't know that your budgets are frozen, so I'll order other stuff later. Okay.
Yeah.
So is Bellatrix teaching?
No. Bellatrix has decided to go around to where the body was found because she's trying to take up this new research thing, and also a dead student is never great. We try not to use our own students as bodies. The whole thing is just a little bit sketchy, and so I thought she would maybe venture out into the woods. She has a special woods venturing cape that she uses, and she's ventured out.
Is she sending her skeletons?
No, she wants to start in person.
Really? Because the skeletons are much better at adventuring, I think.
They might be better at adventuring, but they don't have a lot of sentience, do they?
Yeah, but you could take them with you anyway.
Oh, well, yeah, they can come with me, certainly. I'm just not sending them in my stead because I need to be able to actually analyze whatever's there. They're good at bringing me things, but I don't know what's there yet, so I can't tell them to bring it. So I'm going to take whatever information is on the sheet then and go and try to investigate that situation, which I guess is delving deeper or adventuring?
No, it's adventuring. And you roll plus sorcery because you are bringing your skeletons.
Oh, great. Well, that's a good roll for me then. I have a +2 in sorcery. By the way, what's the advantage if it's related to your research thing? Is that on specific moves or is that all the time?
It's all the time.
So do I get advantage here since I'm directly trying to research this subject?
But you are venturing into the woods.
Right. I'm not sure I understand the mechanic. If any roll related to trying to figure out your research is advantage, or if it's just delving deeper or whatever.
No, I think it's pretty much all of them can apply. It just changes on the context. I mean, for example, if it was going adventuring into a crypt or something clearly necromantic related, but you're going more for this is going to be going into the woods for a demon summoning site. So it's not your expertise.
Okay, so it's expertise and not your research project.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
That's what I'm not sure that distinction is clear to me, but I will just take that and go with it. Oh, wait. Which one? Hold on. I'm going to roll a new dice. Can I clear the room and roll new dice? I can't. They keep showing up and I don't know which ones are. All right, 2d6. Well, even with my +2, that's still a failure.
So. Yeah, so... okay. So you go your way into the woods and you are leaving into the direction of the north part of Pigsmoke, and you have all these ancient forests that are a primal source of magic, full of magical creatures.
Okay.
And you find a clearing that it's pretty obvious even for you. That it's obvious even for you that it has been caused by hellfire. And you can see a pentagram that it's marked by black stones, and you can see where there has been a slab, and there are patterns there, and these ones are obvious that replicate the same patterns that you found in the body of the student.
Well, I mean, it's a relief that the overall scene is very familiar. It kind of feels like home.
And then on top of it, there's the bonus that it looks like it's tied to the student. So things are going better than expected.
But as you are looking to that, you feel like heavy rain upon you, as suddenly your entire skeleton army is reduced to bone shards.
What?
And you can see coming from the woods a bunch of elvish hunters riding staggered monstrosities. And
Elvish?
yes, and you can see a host of the Fae circling you as they declare, "How dare you bring the taint of demons into our lands?" And we're gonna take a break.
All right. I didn't even know we had